In this demo, I want to demonstrate you how to use Traffic Manager in an Azure web app to define your ring-based deployments. First, we will take a look at the release pipeline. We already saw the builds in the artifact sources in previous demos. And I have defined 3 stages. A ring 0 or canary stage, a ring 1 for the early adapters, and a public ring. The strategy behind this is that I first want to deploy my application to the ring 0 to minimize the impact. If something is wrong with my release, I want to know it before it goes to the public. So I first deploy to ring 0 for only 10% of the users. When we take a look at this pipeline and jump to the canary stage, I only have one Azure CLI task here. For this demonstration, I'm not going to deploy a new version of my application. I just point to the green deployment slot that we have created in the previous demo. When we take a look at our Azure CLI command, we can see that we have a simple command. It's AZ Web App Traffic Routing. This command takes care of routing the traffic through a traffic manager. The only thing that I need to do is point to my green deployment slot and say that 10% of my users will now go to this slot. In my second stage, I've done a similar thing, but now I raised it to 30%. In my last slot to the public, I will first swap a blue-green deployment, so 70% of my users will now use the public, and then I will decrease the number of users to my new feature to 0. After I run this command, everybody is on the new version. Before I start this release, let's take a quick look at how this will look in Azure. In my Azure web application, I already defined my production slot and my green deployment slot. And as you can see now, we have 100% of traffic going through the production slot. The production slot is my green bannered application. And my green deployment slot, looking at the green sign here, is my white application. In order to test this scenario, I've set up a load test within Azure DevOps to actually hit my website with a number of users so that you can see the decrease of users when we are moving traffic to another slot. When we go to test plans and then to load test, you can see a number of load tests that I configured here. In this case, the Parse Unlimited browse scenario. When I edit this test, you can see a number of URLs that I hit. And with these settings, with a run duration of 15 minutes and a constant load of 50 users, the load test is constantly running through my website with URLs that I've configured. The load agents that it uses are configured on Azure, somewhere running in the cloud. This test is currently running with a user load of 50 users. Some things are failing, some things are passing, but that's fine. So our website is now under load. So here we are. We see a number of requests, about 8K of requests coming in on our website. So we are now going to start our pipeline to see if we can move some traffic and see the requests decline. I created a new release of my Traffic Manager release definition, and I will now start deploying my release to the canary stage, where I will move 10% of the traffic to another slot. Our first ring succeeded, so 10% of our traffic should now be moved to another slot. The deployment slots after our first release to the canary, we can now see that 10% of the traffic moves to green. This is shown in the deployment slots of the web application. Now that we look at our metrics, we can see that the number of requests declined. Let's move on to another phase and see what happens. I approve this stage. Our ring 1 is successful. So we should see a difference in the metrics. I just go ahead and approve already this one, so it can start running. And in the meanwhile, we can take a look at our deployment slots. When I hit refresh, we now see that 30% of the traffic is moving to the green slot. That should also have an impact on the metrics. And as you can see, the metrics further decline. When we finalize our release pipeline, my release pipeline finished. So currently I expect that all my traffic now moves to the new slot. And indeed, everything moves to production again. And my production website has nicely changed into the new version. Taking a last look at the metrics. And when we hit refresh, we can see that the number of users is increasing again, because now everything moves to the production side. By using multiple rings for your deployments, you can just gradually expose new features to your users without any downtime, and you can keep track of all the metrics within Azure.